Here.
And
No.
you guys are live.
We are live for the final segment here from the Mount View Hotel at the Calistoga Wine Pavilion at the Napa Valley Film Festival. We are here with Emil Teldeschi. We're going to be drinking some 2005 Cabernet Sauvignon from Teldeschi. And welcome, sir.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me.
We are very happy to have you. And tell us a little bit about Teldeschi.
Well, we're fairly new in the valley. My parents moved here about 1919, just before Prohibition. They bought a 20-acre vineyard and a small bed and breakfast. In 1920, Prohibition started, so they couldn't make wine. And at that time, they just were lucky. They passed a law during Prohibition where individuals were allowed to make 200 gallons per person per year. So what they did was pick the grapes, and the other thing, they were lucky that there was a train that was coming up from the Bay Area from San Francisco, so they would pick the grapes about this time of year and put them on the train and send them to San Francisco. But that was before they built the Golden Gate Bridge, so they had to take them off the train, put them on barges, and then they were sold in San Francisco.
And then how does that bring us to today?
Today we're in the process of just having a single vineyard designation, just making Cabernet Sauvignon here in Napa Valley, in particular in Calistoga area, where Cabernet seems to thrive.
And the grapes for this wine come from where?
Calistoga, we have a little vineyard. It's only about an acre and a half, and we produce about 3 or 4 tons per acre.
And you guys farm that yourselves?
That's correct. Myself and my 2 sons that are making the wine.
And what's that like, the vineyard management, and what's your guys' approach and philosophy to growing your own grapes?
The philosophy on making the wine, we're making it more like what they made in the 1970s and 1980s here in Napa Valley with the lower sugar content of bricks. It's usually about 22 to 23% bricks, and that interpretates into a lower alcohol, about 13.5 to 14% alcohol.
So we're tasting this alongside bloggers all over the country today, over Cellar Pass and TasteLive. And can you, stick your nose in the glass and tell us what you take out of this wine?
No. Basically, on being a winemaker, I get more information from the people like yourself that are drinking it than myself. I just more or less go on the philosophy of trying to make a wine more enjoyable to drink, and then it's up to the consumer to tell me what they like about it, what they don't like about it.
Well, it's funny because, I don't know, it seems like time flies, and this is an 05, which seems like it was just yesterday, but really this is, 6 years on it already, and what do you see as the drinking window on this wine?
Right now, our wines, we keep them a little bit longer, and I figure right now is a good time for drinking the wine, but you could also age it for another 10 or 15 years. I have some wines that I've made in '74 they're 40 years old, 45 years old, and with the higher acid and the lower sugar, they have more of it like a sherry flavor to it when they're older. They seem to hold up well.
And can you elaborate on your production process in the winery?
The production process in the winery, we first start out in the vineyard with the lower sugar, so that gives us more of an indication what the end product's going to end up alcohol-wise. But on our fermenting process, we usually just use small bins that are about 4 feet by 4 feet by 2 feet deep, that we use a stemmer crusher to put the grapes in for about 5 days, and they're cold soaked. Then after that, the grape actually has a wild yeast on it, but it's not strong enough to carry it through to complete fermentation, so we'll add like a Pasteur's yeast to it, start it up fermenting, and it'll say another 5 to 10 days in the fermenter. And then we have a punch down tools where we push the must down about three times a day to keep it in contact with the wine, and that's when it starts extracting the colors and flavors out of it. And it's mostly all by taste. We'll keep tasting the wines, and when it gets the right amount of stringency in the wine, and that's the tannins that you feel on the side of your mouth that makes the wine feel dry, when it has the right amount, then we'll take it out of the small fermenters and we'll put it into the press, and then we'll press the wine.
And then what are you eating with this wine? What are some of your go-to pairings?
The wine is, the chefs seem to like it. It goes with lighter food, either like salmon, or it go with barbecued steak, chicken. But it's a wine that's fairly compatible with foods.
And this definitely is more that old world lean style of Cabernet. Has that style for you evolved? Is that more of a vintage thing, or that's something that you strive for in every vintage?
That's correct. It's over maybe a 45-year period of drinking wines that and enjoy wines that are more, when you open the cork, they're ready to drink, where a lot of wines being produced now, and they're very good wines, but they need to be aged for 5 or 10 years. And I think once the younger people get into this, they're going to realize they have some real values when they buy wines now.
So, Decatur Wine Dude is saying, love the wine, nice old school, kudos to Emil. So they like it. They love it.
Well, the style, people that seem to be more well-traveled and like a Bordeaux style, they seem to like this style.
And how was vintage this year for you guys?
It came out excellent. The sugars were a little lower, but we still only pick at like 22 or 23 bricks. For us, it come out fine, where some of the wineries had a little problem where they like their sugars to be 24, 25 degrees bricks. They didn't quite get there this year.
And what's going to be the current release for you guys right now?
Right now, the current release is our 05.
05, and what's the price point on that?
It's
about?
Right around $50 to $60.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you do any other bottlings other than the Cabernet?
We're also making this year a little bit of Pinot Noir, and then also we have a Petit Syrah that we're making, but we mostly just sell it out of the winery.
And being that you guys are such small production, if someone is watching this and they must try this wine, which I highly suggest doing, what's the best way for them to procure a bottle?
They could be able to look us up on our website and then be able to order it that way.
What is your website?
It's just Teldeschi Family Winery.
Beautiful.
Yep.
And do you guys receive visitors at the winery?
Yes, we do. We just do it by appointment because it's just myself and my 2 sons. And we're not there all the time, but usually when the people get there, they get a VIP tour by either the winemakers.
Wonderful. And I'm sure we have a couple more questions coming in, but could you talk a little bit about the last 10 years, some of those vintages? What stands out to you? What vintages are you excited about?
It seems like the ones that stand out to me right now is the 04 came in really well. It's drinking quite well right now. And then also the 06, but we haven't quite released that yet, but I think that's going to be a real nice wine. And the 05 is coming around with another year or 2 of age.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Do we have any more questions from the blogosphere?
They don't have questions, they just love the wine. They're just talking about almost like an overripe blackberry and blueberry that has a natural sweetness. They love the earthiness on the nose, the soft fruit on the mouth. They're just loving the wine.
Wonderful. Well, I love it. Thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with us a little bit.
Well, thank you very much for inviting our family down to
ladies
enjoy
and
you.
gentlemen, here we have Emil Teldeschi at the Calistoga Wine Pavilion, the Mount View Hotel here at the Napa Valley Film Festival, Day 2, Cellar Pass, Taste Live. There's still more to come. We're going to be in St. Helena later today, and we'll be in other areas tomorrow, Yountville and Napa. So keep tuning in. Bloggers, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys soon.